Capital to the Coast BNI. My name's Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a local small business success story from one of our 40 plus chapters. They range from the Triangle, which is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, to parts of the coast. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our goal each week is to help our fellow members grow their business based on BNI's motto of givers gain. And our small business success story this week is Heather Phillips. Heather is owner of Triangle Business Solutions. She is in RD18 Connections in Motion. They meet Thursdays at noon at Big Daddy's Burgers on Falls the Noose Road. So if you're ever in the area, want to meet some very good business people and a lot of fun, this will be one of the better lunches you've had in a while. Heather, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, staying warm. How about you?
Good. We were talking about that before we came on the air here in the Triangle area and many parts of North Carolina. We had ice. So, Heather, if you will share your generator story real quick and who helped you out, talking about BNI helping members and who helped you out.
Yeah, so everyone was expecting this historic snowstorm like we had back in early 2000, and thankfully it didn't snow that much or ice that much. But I was getting preparating for the storm, and I couldn't get my generator to work because it hadn't been started since the hurricane blew through a couple years ago. And I reached out to my BNI group, just on our group chat, and said, "Hey, does anybody know anybody that can fix a generator?" And one of the members said, "Hey, I'm pretty handy. I could come over and check it out for you." So I said, "Sure." So he came over before our BNI meeting last Thursday and took it apart, cleaned it up, emptied out the old gas, and then put it back together. And then one crank, it started. And I was like, "Oh, my goodness." So talk about giver's gain. Like he just was. He's not even a small appliance repair person. He works in IT, but just amazingly generous and wonderful person that came over and helped out.
Mansfield. So if you
Yep,
ever
David
need help with
Mansfield.
your computers, David handles our computers for Triangle and Coastal BNI. So
Mhm.
that's a beauty of BNI. Heather holds the bookkeeping seat in the chapter and relatively new to BNI. And we'll get to that in a minute. You're also a QuickBooks Online Certified Pro Advisor. Did you do that out of necessity or curiosity?
So when I started my bookkeeping business, I wanted to learn all that I could. I actually took an online course to learn how to do bookkeeping and how to grow a business. And part of that was learning QuickBooks. And I decided I needed to fully know the scope of the software because the software doesn't teach you accounting, but you need to know how the software works. So I took the certification in order to make sure I knew all the ins and outs, the bells and whistles of the software, and to make sure I could get myself on what's called the Pro Advisor list, which is if you are a business owner and you want some support with your QuickBooks or just with your accounting, there's a list of people who are certified in that software that can be a trusted resource to go to.
And if somebody needs you for that, do they need to go to your website to fill out anything or click on anything? How do they find you?
So, in order to find me, you can find me on Facebook. I have a Triangle Business Solutions Facebook page. I have a Pro Advisor. If you search for my name, Heather Phillips, or Triangle Business Solutions, you can find me on the Pro Advisor. And I'm also on LinkedIn under Heather Phillips as well. There's another similar company with a similar business name, Triangle Small Business Solutions. They're also a wonderful bookkeeping and tax company in the area, but we are different.
I always tell small business owners the day before you open, there's two things you should outsource. One is your social media, and the other is your bookkeeping, because you might be good at both, but you won't be consistent at both. Am I correct with that wise advice?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of people, very understandable. We've all been there when we're starting our business and you're on that shoestring budget. You're trying to wear all of the hats and do all of the things. And, I've been there. I still have some hats I shouldn't be wearing, but I haven't outsourced yet. But we do it because sometimes we're on a shoestring budget. But when you get to the point where you can reasonably outsource or even just get some training or some support customized for you, that's when it's a really good time to reach out. Because I actually have some pending clients that they want to hire me, and I said, "No, don't hire me yet. I will support you, but you don't have the cash flow, and I don't want to put your business in jeopardy." So, um, for- balance both lines there as far as what can you outsource. Reasonably, it is something you should get support with, but if you financially cannot Hire somebody, do what you can to find resources and support that is no cost, and there's plenty of options out there.
For business owners, whether they're just starting or they've been in business for a while, what are some things that we need to do on our end to not only make your life easier, but be more efficient, probably save everybody a couple hours and a couple of bucks? What can we do in this relationship with you?
So when I work with folks, the biggest thing that is needed is good communication. The best clients I have are the ones that are responsive to questions. They are curious about their business, or they want to know how they can improve, where are opportunities for cost savings. They have ideas where they want to grow, but they want to use the numbers to help them strategize. So being proactive, sending documents when we request things, answering questions when we have them, and just knowing when you first start out working with somebody, when you outsource the accounting and bookkeeping for your company, there's going to be a lot of questions so that we can get to know you. We can get to know your company. We can get to know the ins and outs. And that's realistically understandable. Just like you're getting to know somebody personally, you're also going to get to know somebody with their business. So as we get to know that, that means in the future we have less and less of those questions going forward because we truly understand your business.
In the business world, one of my favorite people to talk about and use as an example is everybody's Uncle Billy. Oh, yeah, my Uncle Billy does my books. Oh, is he a bookkeeper? No, no, but he just loves numbers. That can get you in trouble. I'm sure you probably have a couple stories, but that's not a good way to go, is it?
So most Uncle Billy's, yeah, but most of the time it's my wife or my girlfriend or my nephew or something like that. It's usually a family member or a close friend who, because people are bootstrapping and saving money, they are going with people they know that, they know if they don't have the time to do it, they're finding the next best person that can. And that's great because it takes the time off your plate. But unless you know somebody is really looking over the finances before you send your numbers to your tax preparer, then you can end up having very wrong numbers easily. There's a lot of pitfalls there. So even if you do have somebody, your Uncle Bob, your girlfriend, wife, whoever, maybe also reach out at year end to somebody to see if they can do a review for you. I always call it a diagnostic review, just to see how things look and if there's nothing that really needs touched up before you send your numbers to your tax person.
Is there one or two particular areas that we get ourselves in trouble with?
The biggest and lowest hanging fruit, as I call them, are not making sure the numbers that are in your accounting software, if you use an accounting software, and the numbers from your statements, so your bank statements, your credit card statements, your loan statements, if those numbers are not the same and true, then you've got issues. And it could be a tiny issue, it could be a very large issue. You don't know unless you make those numbers match up. That's a big one. And then the others is just making sure things are coded correctly. I've seen somebody who coded all of their payments to a very large loan to their profit and loss and significantly lowered their taxable income on accident. They just didn't realize it was happening. So that was a big adjustment that had to be made for their taxes. An amendment needed to be made.
I know back in the day, the hospitality and entertainment line was very popular, and now the government picked up on it, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. That's one that a lot of people still love to try to gray area it of, well, if I stick a sticker on it, it can be advertising. Or, I took my family out, but we talked business a little bit. Or they take a trip and they're visiting family, but maybe they stop by one other store to do research. Like those are gray areas that if you're ever audited, you really have to justify those expenses. So yeah, meals and entertainment. Entertainment is absolutely a no-go anymore. Alcohol is a no-go as far as deductions. And meals, it really depends on what the purpose of the meal is. Very few things are still 100% deductible, but the majority of things are only 50% deductible for as far as meals. So all this networking that we do with BNI, my meals expenses have gone way up this year,
Yeah.
but it's worth it because I'm networking and getting out and meeting people. But again, those are only very specific purposes, and they're only 50% deductible.
So if we live in the Triangle and we have a client in Boone, and Me and my spouse want to take a long weekend to Boone. If I meet with my client on Friday, legitimate meeting, been a client of mine for, pick a number of years, and we actually have a good 2 hour meeting or whatever it is on Friday, I probably can't write the whole trip off, correct?
It depends on how long you're there, what all you're doing. So the things that are related to going jobs, so probably gas there and back because you would have made the round trip. If you needed to spend the night for that one night because you visited, that could probably be justified. Any meals that day could be justified. But anything after that, you want to be, I always err on the side of caution. So you wouldn't want to deduct those additional things. And again, talks to your tax preparer for specific questions because I am not a tax preparer. And surprisingly, depending on who you talk to, you might get different answers. But if you are very curious, again, this is where I love clients that are very curious. Do research. Go to the IRS. What do those what do those documents say? And if it's like reading Greek, which most IRS documents are, put it into AI and get it to lower the reading grade level, which is what I do for it. I'm not sure how to say it, but make it in layman's terms where you can understand it.
And you and I've had this conversation about AI, and I've
Mhm.
learned many things. And one is if you say, if you were a tax preparer, how would you translate this for me? And you just type it in and it will
Mhm.
simplify it. So, but you got to ask. You got to ask it what it's supposed to, what its role. You got to ask AI what its role is in this
Mhm.
conversation. But you get some pretty good answers back.
Yep, and then you can take that knowledge and then go take it back to your bookkeeper or your tax preparer and say, "Hey, okay, this is my understanding. Talk me through my specific situation and how it relates." Because every person's tax situation is different. Even if you have a very similar business from myself compared to somebody else, our holistic tax situation is very different depending on, are we married, filing jointly, are we filing single, do we have dependents? All of that feeds in depending on your business entity as well. So even if your friend over there with a very similar business and revenue stream has one answer, yours still might be different.
Yeah. And I'm glad you pointed out that you're not a tax preparer, because that's important for us to, as business owners, to know how many people we need to talk to make sure we get our taxes filed properly. You're usually the first stop. Got to get everything in order. And then we go to a tax preparer.
Yeah, so some people do everything in house. Some businesses have tax preparation and bookkeeping all in house. Some bookkeeping businesses have CPAs that they consider in house where they have like a very dedicated go to person. I'm building those relationships. But those all in one stop shops are nice. Sometimes you might have a little bit of give and take in terms of the quality of what you get, depending on who you're working with. So I'm a big fan of, if you have somebody who's a dedicated bookkeeper, that's what they do, then work with them. And then if they have a solid tax preparer that can really know the ins and outs of taxes, pass your work on to that person after the finances are good and solid and ready, because we all have our knowledge and our strengths, right? And it's very hard to do all of it and do it well. So I like to think of some of the companies that try to do everything and do it all at once are kind of like the Walmarts. As great as Walmart is, it's not always the best at everything. So
I'm glad you point that out because we
mhm,
do need to know that. I've learned a lot of things through BNI, getting to know different, we call them seats in BNI. Heather has the bookkeeping seat um, that bookkeepers do. It's not cut and dried. It's could be monthly work, could be the cleanup. Hey, here's my shoebox full of receipts, and it could be planning as well. So I'm sure which of those kind of fit your fancy that you really enjoy doing.
so I do all of that.
Mhm.
I take businesses. I actually am signing somebody on recently where they are just getting their articles of incorporation. They're just starting a business, and somebody in my BNI, it was a family member of theirs. They referred them to me because they know that I do good work and I can help them from the ground up get a solid foundation of systems and processes in place where they're not going to have a big cleanup on their hand or a big mess to untangle later. We're going to start off on the right foot first. So I can help people with, what do I need to file? Do I need to get, my EIN? Do I need to get, a separate bank account for my business? Then from there, we can do training specifically on, they want to do the work themselves, but do it right. We can dedicate some training specifically for their business and the software that they're using. About 100% of the clients that I've done training with usually turned into monthly clients because eventually they realize their time is better served doing the
Yeah.
work in their business. So the bulk of what I do right now is the outsourced bookkeeping or the done for you bookkeeping, where we will come in and daily, monthly, weekly, code all your transactions, make sure your statements and everything are true, when that reconciliation, and then presenting those reports, the financial reports of profit and loss, balance sheet, statement of cash flows. What is your business telling you as far as the finances? How well are you doing? What are your opportunities for cost savings, for growth? If you have ideas for pivoting and growth, how does that look as far as cash flow? Um, so that's the bulk of what I do. And then there's also higher level advising, which is more financial planning as and advising FP&A, where we can do higher level things like what is your cash flow? I had a client that needed to look at if they stepped back from the company for a while due to different reasons, how long could their business support them until they were out of cash? So looking at the cash runway, just looking at those higher level things is additionally what we do as well. Not all bookkeepers do those things. Really good bookkeepers will do all those services. Some bookkeepers might just do the coding of transactions and then email you a report and that's it. And that's what you want, that's fine. But if you want somebody who is more hands on, in depth, proactive with your business, then look at somebody who provides a wider scope of services.
I'm happy to say that Heather, my bookkeeper. So, folks, the things we're going to talk about. So, I only hang out with the best. So, Heather's it. So, I'm glad you brought up the time that business owners spend trying to do things that they shouldn't do. And we always, as business owners, were the worst. Oh, I'll do it when I get home, or I'll do it on Saturday. And you may or may not have a family with little league this, little league that, traveling, all that good stuff. And it's important to explain to business owners that this is not your superpower. Your superpower is going to make 200 bucks an hour on client calls. So go do that, and that'll make it easier to pay for someone like Heather. So I know you have those conversations with your clients.
Absolutely. I mean, it's also what is your time worth?
Mhm.
So if you like I have clients that will come to me at year end where they haven't had the time to do anything and then they have a year to catch up. And some people will tell me, well, I just spend the last 2 weeks in December doing it. And one, would you rather be spending that time with family around the holidays? And two, if that's time away from you continuing to market and plan for the year ahead and maybe make sales at the end of the year, depending on your seasonality of your business, how much of that time is it worth to you that you've lost in potential revenue? And it can, it can compound. So, I mean, there are things that I really am not the best at. Like, I know you're going to ask me about marketing and advertising and things like that. That is not my strength. That is something I need to outsource at some point. But my strength is in terms of the numbers and analyzing and making puzzles make sense. I love to do that and find a way to communicate it to where it makes sense to people, where they can really find value in their business and not have to stress about it. It's something they know it's well taken care of, and they have somebody that can bring insights to them that they might not have even thought of because they just didn't have the time.
Let me guess, because you do enjoy puzzles, you probably enjoy those whodunit shows and trying to figure out who did it before the end of the show.
Um, I don't know. I can't think of any. Like I tend to watch like documentaries and stuff like
Okay, right.
that.
So who keeps the books for a bookkeeper?
Usually we do. And it's kind of like, what's the saying about the cobbler and the shoes,
Yep.
right? I was actually working on my finances before I hopped on because I wanted to have some good like percentages to tell you as far as growth since I've joined BNI. And I was like, ooh, I gotta catch it up. So usually we do our own. I do know some bookkeepers that specialize in helping bookkeepers with their
Mm.
finances. I'm not, I don't know personally how many clients they have, but I know a lot of us, because we love doing it, it's pretty easy for us to tackle.
Yeah. When you get around to it, right? Because
Yes.
you're always, wait, let me move that. I'll get that. You just keep going. As the business owner, you keep moving your name down the list, don't you?
Yep, exactly. We all do it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, all right. So, how do we go from being a recreational therapist to being an A number 1 bookkeeper for almost coming up on 10 years?
Yeah, so I went to ECU for undergrad and grad school back to back, and I majored in recreational therapy and for both my undergrad and my graduate degree. and I loved what I did. I worked at the hospital down in Greenville. It was Pitt County Memorial Hospital, then it turned into Vidant. I think it's still Vidant. But I worked there for close to 10 years, and I worked in the inpatient rehab center, and I helped patients make sure they could adjust to a life changing event that they may have had, a major health change. I made sure that they could work through any form of depression, or they could make sure they had resources when they get home, because a lot of them came and stayed uh, in the rehab center to get better so they could go back home. So PT helps them walk and move. OT can help make sure you can transfer from place to place, get bathed, eat, do those sorts of things. But then what about when you get home and you get back in your community and you maintain involvement in your social connections? That's a piece that's huge in our life that we need. So that's something I helped people do. And I loved it. And then I had my daughter, and I decided I wanted to stay home with her. It was a really strong calling for me, and I stayed home with her about 2 years and loved every minute of that. And then started feeling like I needed something for me again. I needed something that would challenge me and give me more of an identity than just a stay-at-home mom. I think a lot of stay-at-home moms can somewhat relate to that, at least in the beginning of we can start to lose our own identity. And so I was like, what else could I do? Because I had let my recreational therapy license expire because I had to be state and nationally licensed. And when I stopped working, those things both lapsed. So I knew I couldn't easily go back into that field. And I thought, well, I'm always that person that people come to with questions about finances because I tended to be fairly good naturally with money. I just didn't struggle with it. And I thought, well, I could go get a CPA and become a tax preparer. And I looked online for about 30 minutes and then said, nope, I don't want to do that. And I was like, what else could I do that's similar? And I found this course called Bookkeeper Business Launch. I think it's called this, I don't know what it's just called BL now. I can't remember the updated name. But it taught you how to do all the bookkeeping from the beginning to the end, and it taught you how to build a business, how to grow it, how to strategize, how to market. And I just dove in and started getting clients and have done that ever since.
Sounds like a natural transition, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of people in healthcare. I've met
Yes.
a former physical therapist, a former speech therapist, um, somebody else recently that they have come from that background and then started their own bookkeeping business. So
What skills did you bring from that job that translate to bookkeeping now when dealing with clients and just looking at problems, puzzles, all those good things?
the biggest thing that I still love that I get to do is getting to know people, finding out what's important to them, what are their passions, and building relationships with people. Um, the job that I do is not transactional. It's not get these numbers in and then here you go. It is, how are you doing? What are your struggles? What are your what's the great things that have happened for you? It's not just business. It's personal. It's, how is life going for you? Because our personal always comes into our business if we're a business owner. They're so intertwined when you're a business owner that it's a lot harder to turn off the clock at 5 o'clock when you have a 9 to 5 job, right? When you're W-2, it's a lot easier to be like, okay, cut off, go home and completely unplug. So I still get to know that part of people and get to know people on a deeper level and maintain that strong relationship with people. That's the biggest thing that I've carried from that career to this career. And I'm very grateful for that.
Nice. Are you the type to, oh, let me check my emails right before I go to bed, whether it's 9 o'clock or 10:50 at night?
Depends on the week and the day, but January, oh man, I was working like 12 hours yesterday, just hoping the power wasn't going to go out. January is our bookkeepers' hair on fire month because everything is due. We have sales tax due. We have income taxes getting ready. The reports for the tax preparers. We have 1099s. Dear goodness, we have 1099s that are due in January 31st. Everything that has a deadline lands in January. So, yes, there are times that I do that, and then there are times that I make sure I unplug because you have to. You absolutely have to maintain your mental health, your mental sharpness. It's important to take care of yourself. So,
And how many people on your team?
me, myself, and I.
There you go. I like that. Day one, when Triangle Business Solutions, by the way, I think I told you this earlier. I'm surprised that name was out there.
I got a story about that too.
Please tell us, because I love how names come up.
So I was trying to think of a business name. I don't remember how I came across it. I think I just thought, okay, let me look up a name for Triangle because that's, the nickname for this area. And I happened to go on the NC Secretary of State's website and looked at names to see what was free. And I saw that Triangle Business Solutions had been dissolved, but it wasn't yet available. It still was in that window of whoever was the former owner could have taken it back. And it was like, I don't know, 2 weeks to a month that it was going to be available. So every week I would go and check and see if it was available. And then the day it opened up, I snagged it.
So on day one, when Triangle Business Solutions opened, what did you do to tell everybody you knew and everybody you didn't know that you were open for business?
So back then, I wasn't as connected in the community as I am now as far as networking. So I just made a Facebook post. I said, "Hey," I made a little, events post on Facebook saying, "I'm a business owner. Here's my business. Here's a link to my business website and the Facebook page." And it's funny because if you go to my Facebook page now, at the time, I still have it now. It says "owner, y'all," like a little exclamation point.
Very
So.
nice. And slowly. So how did you? What did you do to? You realize you needed to be more connected in the community? What kind of things did you start doing to get that word of mouth going and build relationships?
So honestly, it was connecting with other bookkeepers in the online community that I was a part of. There was a couple local where they were doing projects and they needed some support. So I said, "Hey, sure, I can help you out. I can contract and just help you problem solve through what's going on with some of the clients." And then from there, I would get referrals from that person and or their client, and it just built that social proof, the word of mouth of yes, this person knows what they're doing. And for the longest time, I just hunkered down at my house, and if somebody called me on the phone and said, "I need some work," I said, "Great, come on," and I just took whoever drifted by. And, the past year or 2, I've taken a much more proactive approach just because life changes, it needed to take a change, and I have been a lot more intentional in terms of getting out and networking and meeting people and building relationships in the community, which has allowed me to really grow, and get my feet underneath me and, really see what my business can be, compared to it being a smaller business because it was a much smaller business for a while, and now I have intentions to grow it larger.
We all went through that stage of
Mhm,
any because you got to pay bills.
mhm.
Sure, I'm a painter. I'll go paint a bathroom because you needed the work. You needed the 200 bucks, whatever. I don't know if people charge for that, but you did that. But it's kind of nice and freeing to get to the point where you can say no to clients. When did that start happening, and how difficult was that for you to say no the first time,
So, I'm still not at the point of saying no.
or
Um,
not now at least?
yeah,
Right?
not
Yeah.
yet,
Okay.
but I am to the point of if come January, I have a client that, says, "Hey, I need you to clean up my stuff from last year." I actually told somebody the other day, I said, "Great, I'd love to take you on. I can't start your work until at least February, March. I've got to get everybody else finished up." So it's almost like take them on, but there's a little bit of a waiting list in terms of, the work's going to get done, but it's going to have to wait just because of the reality of it being year end.
Yeah. And it's important to get to that point where because we're all looking for ideal clients.
Hmm.
They're going
Yep.
to stay with us. They're going to pay us full price because they appreciate our value, and they're going to send us new clients. And that's what we all want. So to get to the point, so it sounds like you are headed that way.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, the clients that I've had in the past, I've never had a bad client. All the clients that I've had have been wonderful people. And I don't know, I mean, there has been times along the way where I've told somebody we're not a good fit. And so we didn't even move forward with services in terms of I've never had to fire or let go of a client because of a bad relationship. I think I can got a pretty good radar to weed that out from the beginning. Just depending on how somebody is speaking, how they're talking about a former relationship they've had with a financial person. Um, just those things to look for in terms of when you're bringing a client on to kind of prevent a headache in the future.
With business owners, I like to find out with the industry they're in, is there a gene running through their family tree that, oh, there were bookkeepers all throughout my family, right, Heather?
So actually, I didn't think about it until a couple years ago. My grandfather on my mom's side, so my mom's dad, was a accountant, and my dad's dad, so my granddad on my dad's side, he was a banker here in Raleigh. So, yeah.
Okay, good. It was somewhere inside. You just had to find the right time to bring it out, huh?
Yep, and then we also have healthcare people in my family too. My mom's a nurse and she's been one forever. My grandmother was a social worker. My brother's a firefighter here locally, so we have medical people in our family too.
Very
So,
nice, very
yeah.
nice. So how and when did BNI enter the picture?
So BNI's been on my radar honestly since I've been in business. I heard people talking about it for a long time, and can I be like fully transparent?
Say anything you want.
Okay. So I heard really good things and really challenging things about
Mm.
BNI. I heard some people say, man, my business has been made on BNI. I would not be around if it wasn't for BNI. And then I had other people say, man, BNI was a time suck. I just couldn't, it wasn't for me. I didn't like it. And I just didn't do it. So it was on my radar for a while. And I really needed to start growing this past year. So I said, let me try it out. Let me find some networking groups in the area. I tried one networking group and it didn't quite work out. And then I started visiting some BNIs in the area to see which ones might be a good fit, and just tried it out because I was nervous. Like my preconceived ideas of BNI was that there's a lot of rules. You can only have these many seats. Like you're only one profession per seat. And I was like, well, that seems very exclusive. What happens if I want to refer to somebody that's in a different seat in a different group because I think they're a better fit for somebody specifically? I didn't want to be restricted in how I ran my business because of BNI rules. And then as I visited the BNIs and found one I really fell in love with and learned more about how BNI works, a lot of those preconceived understandings weren't all founded. There was a bit more flexibility than I thought there was. And so I visited several and landed on RD18, and I just really found a group that I look forward to visiting every week. I love the people. I love the energy that we bring. We bring a lot of visitors, so there's a lot of new faces, which makes it interesting. And a ton of visitors every week say, "Man, this is the most fun BNI group I've been to ever." So,
And it's yeah, that was my second chapter, and it was worth it. But I'm glad you brought that up because BNI is not for everyone.
mhm,
We like to give people the example of it's like a gym membership. Hey, Mike, how's the New Year's resolution going with your gym? It's not working. How come? I only get there about once a week.
mhm,
So, I'm getting out of it what I put into it, which is next to nothing. And so, but it's not for everyone. But for the people that understand relationships,
mhm,
it's worth a long look. And I'm glad you found B, and I'm glad you found RD18 because there are a number of people in there that turn out to be natural referral partners for you just because of the businesses. But then a lot of the other people, once they get to know you, and that's who, and people listening to the show, we refer people we know, like, and trust.
mhm.
And so that's the cornerstone of BNI right there. No matter what we say or what we track and everything, it's about relationships. So I'm glad you found it. And it has been working for you so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, by far. It's been a wonderful opportunity. The consistency and going and really getting to know the people in the group and they getting to know you in return has been wonderful. And I've had several people in other areas that I've met in other networking around the area where they're like, man, what other networking groups can I join? And I tell them about BNI. And if it's not their cup of tea, I tell them the core concepts is what's important, right? The consistency. I told somebody the other week, it doesn't matter if it's your favorite recipe networking group. As long as it's a group of people you have something in common with that you have a passion for, and you're there consistently where they get to know you and you get to know them, that's where you build those relationships. That's the core of why BNI is so amazing, is because we have consistency, we build relationships, we build trust. And if you can find that in another group, it doesn't have to be BNI.
Mhm.
Um, and BNI is wonderful, and I am so glad that I hitched my wagon to BNI this year. I don't think I wouldn't be where I am without it. So, but the core concepts of what we do and why we're so successful can be found other places, even if BNI isn't a fit for somebody. So I don't want somebody to feel like, all of us BNIers have drank the Kool-Aid and it's,
Mhm.
it's the only way, because even for just different philosophies in life, I'm not a fan of there's only one way.
And I agree with you. There are many wonderful networking organizations. but a lot of it comes down to they just meet maybe once a month or twice a
Mhm.
month. And a lot of times the answer to the question is yes. Can you develop those relationships only meeting once or twice a month? Sometimes you can, but with BNI, you see it's your sales team. You
Yep,
see them every
exactly.
week. Here's who I'm going to ask for. Please help me. Would love to be introduced to this person. So, no,
Yep,
glad you found that.
exactly.
You have a daughter. Uh, any interest in going into the bookkeeping world?
I was talking with my kiddo the other day, and they were saying that they were interested in part time work because I was mentioning I was helping somebody do payroll. They were putting their kids on payroll for the end of the year as a tax strategy. And she was like, "Ooh, can I be on your payroll?" I said, "Yeah, but you actually have to work."
Yeah.
So I sat them down and showed them some of the stuff, and they lasted about 2 seconds. I was like, "Never mind." But they're only 12, so I'll give
Yes.
them some time.
Okay. So people actually put their kids on the payroll
Mhm.
and don't pay them, but manufacture a number?
Well, okay, so IRS hat here. Again, I'm not a tax preparer, but there are very strict requirements for documenting the work that your children do, making sure they're a legit employee, and tracking hours that they do and the job duties they do. It needs to be age appropriate. So you can do that, but you absolutely have to do it the right way. Again, I always work with my clients in terms of if you're ever audited, here's what you need to know and do. And if they follow that or not, that's on them. But I at least put those sorts of things in writing where it's documented, where that knowledge is there, where they have to follow the rules that at least they've been educated on.
Yeah, there's some slippery slopes in business, and another one of those is, oh, all my people, you're in a service, you have a service business. Oh, all my people are 1099s. Yeah, you treat them like a W-2. Come to my house, get my equipment, my supplies. You go to this place at 9, this place at 10:30, this place at 2. It's like
Mhm.
people don't
Yeah, the
do
IRS
that.
is cracking down on that, so be real careful in terms
Yep.
of really look up what the difference is between hiring an employee and a contractor, because the IRS really is buckling down on those criteria. Because if you're paying somebody that should be an employee, there's going to be consequences for that.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah. So I've learned a number of things. My brother has been self-employed for years, and his line is always, "Is that the hill you want to die on?"
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, nope, nope. All right. So welcome to the new year. I'm trying out the no overthinking round. Snow or no snow? Which do you prefer?
Snow if it melts and I can still get out of the house.
How quick does it have to melt?
Maybe about a day or so.
Yeah, okay. All right. What's something people assume about your business that's totally wrong?
They assume it's easy and it won't take very long. There's a
Yeah.
lot of times where, especially in cleanups, where we're taking your work and trying to organize it and get it correct. When you find one thing and you pull the thread, everything unravels.
Oh, yeah. And the way we make notes on pieces of paper or try to IRS up a document, oh, Heather, she'll go for this. And they said it to you. It's like, no, dude,
I
not happening. So, if your business had a mascot, what would the mascot be and why?
don't know, probably a golden retriever. I don't know why that just popped in my head. We're friendly, we're helpful,
Did you go fetch stuff to, yeah.
we have good energy.
You have to go find numbers and things and all that to make all this stuff work. All right. If they make a movie about you, who do you want to play you?
Ooh, I have no clue. Um, I don't know. That's
Pick whoever
a
you want. Yeah.
really, I was gonna say Ryan Reynolds just because he has an amazing wit, but
Okay.
that's not a female character.
We can put a wig on him. He'd go for it. You know that.
I have no clue.
All
I don't
right.
know. I've never thought about
Well, get with your daughter tonight at dinner. You two chat, okay?
that.
Is your email inbox organized or chaotic?
It is chaotic, but I stay on top of the emails that are most important during the day, and then I just don't get a chance to delete all the unimportant ones.
You have numerous clients. Tell us how you categorize. I learned something last week that in Outlook, which I'm new to, You can designate emails and they go to folders, stuff like that. So how do you keep all of your clients' emails, separate?
So I actually don't like to have things auto go to folders because just nervous I'm going to miss something. Because I
Mhm.
know even in Google they have the priority social promotions, and sometimes I lose emails even just because it auto sorts that. So I prefer everything to come to my inbox and I see it, and then after I've touched it, if I've resolved it, I put it into a folder specifically for that client. And if it's something I know I need to follow up on, I have a folder specifically for, hey, this is something that needs to be followed up on,
And what's the title of that folder?
follow up on.
Okay. Hey, simple. Yeah, I like that. If you had a team of people working for you, what's the one word they would use to describe you?
Giving,
Okay.
helpful maybe.
I like that. Mountains or the ocean?
Ooh, ocean.
Okay. No questions asked, right? Now, do you like being on the beach or at the beach?
I like being in the sand. I don't go in the
Okay.
water anymore just because sharks and jellyfish
Yes.
and the. But I love sitting. Like I love to take day trips down to the Wrightsville Beach
Mhm.
and the what is it, Johnny Mercer's Pier. I'll go sit under the pier because I'm gonna fry, and just listen to the ocean.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing in the world. It's
I
so grounding
love
and
that
peaceful.
sound. I'm with
Yep.
you. I'm with you. When you say something to your daughter, are you hearing your mom or your dad in your head?
Mom.
Have you stopped yourself saying something one time to your daughter because your mother said that to you numerous times?
No, actually, because I realize my mom has really good perspective, and even though I might sound like my mom or even my grandma, it's for a reason.
Okay. Well, let your mom listen to this, so she can, we have it, we have a recording that says, Mom, you were really good.
It's amazing once you have kids how much your perspective
Yes.
changes on, man, my parents did
Yeah.
so much for me.
Yeah. We have two boys, 30, 39 and 36, thirty
Mhm,
nine and 35. And we, one day, it was a few years ago, got that, you guys aren't so stupid after all. You got to know some things. So I was
mhm.
like, thank you. And now when they have kids, it really speeds up. It's like, oh, cake or pie?
Cake,
What kind?
chocolate, anything chocolate.
Favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Ooh, the lemon ones, whatever they're called.
There you go. You can do the books for any celebrity in the world. Who do you do them for?
Mm, I mentioned him earlier, but probably Ryan Reynolds because he has that
There
really
we
cool
go.
marketing agency, and I would love to know the behind the scenes.
And you want tickets to Wrexham football games, right? Because he owns a soccer team in England.
That's true. Yep.
Wrexham, yeah.
That or I've been listening to a podcast for a guy called I think his name's I'm gonna butcher his name. I think his name's Steven, but The Diary of a CFO. Have you heard his podcast?
I have not.
Okay. I like his stuff, so maybe I would do some work for him too. That'd be cool.
Okay. All right. A tip if somebody wants to become a bookkeeper. What needs to be in place? What do they need to be thinking about to get into that world and do it correctly and be successful?
If you want to start in bookkeeping, you have to have an entrepreneur's mindset, right? So you need to be able to step away from the 9 to 5 mentality of being your own boss and being able to take charge and not let fear hold you back in things because there's going to always be something you don't know or something you're not sure of, and you just need to keep plowing forward. You do need to be somewhat of an organized person, or even if you're the herding cats, chaos type of person, you can still be good, but maybe outsource the skills that aren't your strength to run a good business. Because I know several bookkeepers that own businesses that maybe aren't the best organized or detail oriented, but they've hired on people that are and can get the work done. Because you do need a good mix of um, get it done mentality and creativity, idea generation mentality. You need to have both to be a business owner.
What is the one thing you are most excited about for Triangle Business Solutions this year?
I am excited to grow. I'm excited to see where. my growth will take me this year. And I might end up hiring a team member or two sooner than I thought. So my growth is going quicker than I expected, which is really exciting.
You have to give up things to grow a business. There's some, okay, now you got to get the right people because everything is all about the people. But at some point in time, you're gonna have to go, okay, Mike, here. Now you'll check in on me, but you got, yeah. So will you be good at that?
Yep, absolutely. Are you
Okay.
talking about if I hire on, would I still be direct contact with clients?
Yeah, but there's certain things you have to give up because you still can't do everything as you grow your
Oh,
business.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, folks, we've been putting Heather's phone number on the screen here. This is not one of the things you need to feel like you can fake people. You can't fake this till you make it. The IRS will win. I don't know how often they win, but I think their winning percentage is pretty good. So, reach out to a professional like Heather. Just talk to her. She'll chat with you for a couple minutes. Heather, enjoyed having you on the show today. Um, Thanks for all the good stories and congratulations on your growth this year, the last couple of
Really
years. Yep.
appreciate it. Thank you so
And
much for having me and letting me share my story. I appreciate it.
my pleasure. Love it. So, anyways, before we go, I'd like to wish my granddaughter Cortland a happy third birthday today. So, yep. She's the youngest of the granddaughters. Now they're both three. So
Happy birthday.
we are spoiled. So, anyways, again, folks, they can go to trianglebusinesssolutions.com.
Yes.
Okay. Or call the phone number that we've been putting on the screen. Talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. This is don't mess with this stuff. So, anyways, Heather, thank you again. And we'll see everybody next time on Capital to the Coast BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.